This is a quick start guide to help you get going with using Google Forms for your assessments. First thing to do is you need to get a form called up. The easiest way to do that is just go right up to the URL, type in forms, and it will pop right up for you. Click on it. There we go. I want a blank quiz, so I'm going to click on blank quiz. First, I'll name it. I'll do something clever like quiz 1. I've got to name it down here as well. Okay. This section down here is if you have any directions, and that will show up in where the students see it. Now, a little trick that I use is I always make sure the first question isn't actually a question, it's actually a blank for their name. There's a good reason for that. It has to do with when you want to change the order of the questions later on. You want to have the name up first. It's very, very helpful, and I have to require them to do that. I also often have them put down the class period. You may not need that. I'll do 3 periods. Now, I accidentally put an extra one in here, and to get rid of it, I just click on X and get rid of it. I want that one also to be required, so I'm good to go. Next up, I need to make a second section for the questions. The reason for that, again, has to do with later on I might want to mix up the answers, mix up the questions and the answers and so forth. And so I don't want the name and the class period to end up being mixed up with the questions so that like the 4th question is name. So instead, I'm just going to go through here again, and I'm going to call this again quiz 1. And I think I'm ready to go. So now it's time to add some questions. So let's get a question up. So I don't know, how about this? Okay, so what's the capital of Ohio? Down here. I usually put what is actually the answer in the first position, just so that later on it's easier for me to figure out. If I accidentally forget to put the answer in right away, it's easier for me to figure out what it is if I put it in the first position. So, got my answers in, and I want them to answer that question, so I click and slide over required. Now, I want to mix up the order on this so that not everybody sees the same order of the answers. So I click on the 3 dots down here, and I press shuffle order option. And now when the answers get put into an individual test for a student, they will not be in the same order for everybody. Now I want to go over to the answer key now, and it's good to do the answer key question by question and not wait till the end and do them all at once. I think it's easier to do it one at a time. First thing you got to do is you have to tell it how many points you want it to be worth. I'm just going to say it's going to be worth 1. You can make it worth any amount of points you want. Then I have to identify what is the correct answer. So the correct answer is Columbus, and you notice there's a check mark next to it now. Now, if there are 2 or more correct answers, you can do that too. So suppose Dayton was also the correct answer. So now I have 2 correct answers. They would get credit for either one if they do. Since Dayton is not the correct answer, we will leave that alone. Let's add one more question. How many days in a week? And my correct answer is 7. It does not have to be in the first position, but again, I just do it that way just to keep things straight in my mind. I want this to be a required question. I do want to shuffle the order option, and then I got to go over to answer key. This is also going to be worth 1 point, and the correct answer is 7. Now, when I go back to edit question, you'll notice that it has a little check mark next to the correct answer. Only I can see that. Well, obviously, when the test goes out, they won't be able to see that too. Obviously, you'd put more than 2 questions in a quiz, but let's just say that we only have 2 in there so we can get on to the good stuff here. Okay, so all the questions are taken care of. I'm just going to take a quick look. It looks like they're fine. All right, so I'm going to go over here to responses. So I've got questions and I've got responses. When I get some responses, they will populate in this area. Now, you can just leave them in that area if you want to and take them directly off of there. That's fine. I don't find that to be quite as convenient. So what you can do is you can link it with Google Sheets. So this is how you do that. So click on those 3 buttons and then select response destination. Now, really all that does is it gives you the option of either creating a new spreadsheet or selecting an existing spreadsheet to go. I always just create a new spreadsheet. So there it is. It's already named. You can rename it anything you want to, but this is fine. If I leave it like this, then it's correlated directly with the original one because it's got basically the same name and it'll end up staying right next to it. So I'm going to press create. All right. And there it is. So I've created the questions, I've looked at the possible responses, and I've gone in and selected the Google Sheet that it's going to be associated with. One more thing to do before we send it out. We got to check the presentation of it. So first of all, there's a few settings I got to check on. First off, do I want to collect their email address? Yes, I do. I'm asking them to put their name down, but their email address just gives me that one little bit of extra thing so that I can actually know what it is and who it is that I got this from. Response receipts I generally don't use. That will send an email to each student telling them what questions they got right and what's wrong. It's just kind of a waste of space and time, and they don't want to see all those emails anyway. Do we want to restrict it to Tecumseh Local Schools users? That's up to you. Generally, I would say yes. Do you want them to be able to take it over and over again without supervision, with supervision, whatever? If you just want them to take it once, you click on that. Afterwards, do you want them to be able to edit it after they've submitted it, or once they submit it, is it gone from them? That's your choice. I usually leave that unchecked. See summary charts and text responses. This is a new feature here, and it just allows them to be able to see how they're doing and how they're doing versus other people. Looking at the presentation tab now, do I want a progress bar in there? That just simply shows them how close they are to the end, so sure, why not? This is an important one, to shuffle the question order. Yes, I would like the questions to be changed in order. I know there's only 2 questions, so there's only 2 ways that they can be. But if you have 10 questions, you're going to want to maybe shuffle the question order. Last thing is about the confirmation message. This is the default one. You might change it to do something like this. Thanks for your submission. Now go read your book, or whatever you're going to tell them to do. Finally, under quizzes, this is already defaulted to make it a quiz. That simply means that the software is going to grade it based on what you told them the answers were. Question is, do you want the students to immediately see it? If you choose to have them immediately see it, what will happen is on that last page where it will show them this message right here, right next to that, it will show them their score. So it'll show them how many points they got out of how many points. If, however, you are going to be doing an extended response or an essay or something that needs to be graded separately, you may want to choose to have them get the scores back later. Up to you. Down below is a few little options on things. Do you want them to see the missed questions when it gets sent back to them? Do you want them to see what the correct answers were? Do you want them to see what the point values were? All things and options that you can choose from. Then press save. Now we are just about ready to go. Looks like everything's set. If you want to preview what it's going to look like to the students, press the little I button, and you can see exactly what it will look like to the students. So there you have it. To get out of it, I simply click on the tab, and I'm done. So now we're ready to get it to our students, to pass it out to them electronically. Now, if you're using Google Classroom, that is by far the best method, not only for the students, but for you to keep track of things. However, if you don't have access to Classroom on a regular basis, this is the next best way, and it works pretty good too. You're going to go up here to the send button and press send. Now, it doesn't actually send anything just yet, but it sets you up to send things. So you have all the emails that you're going to type in. So let's see here. Send it to the principal of Tecumseh High School and all the other people that I want to send it to. Once I've done that, I just press send here. I will save him that trouble and not actually do that. And that's all you have to do. You're all set to go. So that's the Quickstart guide for Google Forms to use them as an assessment tool. You connect it in with Sheets, you're good to go. I'll make another video concerning how to use Flubberoo, which is a way to take item analysis to the next level.